to know how internet was evolved, right? So for that, we have to understand first what internet is. We need to first understand what network is, right? So if we talk about network is like multiple computers are connected to each other, and they are controlled by a single entity, such as their connections are done, and it is done with the help of routers, right? They act as a connector that helps in connecting various networks together. And when these networks become, it become network of entire networks, then we say it is an internet. So you can say internet is a global system of interconnected computer networks, right? So what we call the internet is a world wide web, right? So in short, we can say that this internet is an a very important part of our life and of a future also. Our future relies upon it. It is for everyone, and it shapes, you know various new platforms for business, for public services, and people require it for various purposes. So, the internet service provider is another terminology which is very important. It is basically a commercial organization that gives us permanent or temporary connections to the internet subscriber. You can say they sell the internet services, right? And in turn, we pay for it. And the example for same is Prodigy, America Online, Microsoft Networks, AT&T Networks, right? So all in all, we can say that it is the largest network in the world that connect hundreds and thousands of individual networks all together, right? And all over the world also, right? So if we talk about the different types of network, then those are divided as LAN, MAN, and WAN, right? So these are the three categories of network, which is the basic entity of internet. So if we talk about LAN is mainly when we connect various computers in a particular form. Like here, this is a bus topology wherein a single line is being connecting various computers, like it is done in the lab. But the method of connecting these computers can be different. It can be a ring topology, like these are the systems and these are connected and in with the central system. It can be like this also, right? So basically LAN is a local area network, right? It is done within a smaller diameter, wherein the systems are connected together to communicate with each other and form a smallest part of the network, right? As the name suggests, it is local area network. That means its diameter or its constraint, biggest constraint is the restriction within the, you can say, location. Or like in a building, we have multiple labs and those are connected with each other, then we would say that this is a LAN. Okay. Then further moving, there is MAN. MAN is Metropolitan Area Network. As the name suggests, the network which is accommodated in the metropolitan area is would be Metropolitan Area Network, wherein the school LAN, hospital LAN, college LAN, and factory LAN and other such kind of LANs are connected together to make a MAN, right? Further, if we discuss about WAN, that is wide area network, in this it is a combination of LANs, various LANs and MANs are connected together to make a WAN, that is wide area network, right? So in short, you can say the smaller part is LAN, then the next bigger, I can say perspective is MAN, that which is Metropolitan Area Network, and further wide area network wherein various continents and countries get connected to each other, right? And in this way, when there is a combination of all these three types of networks, it forms networks of networks to make internet. Okay. So further, if we talk about like how internet works, you can see in this illustration, like here is a sender computer and a receiver computer, wherein the digital signals are sent via modem, which are converted into the analog signals. And further, ISP plays a role, which is internet service provider, as we discussed earlier, right? It provides us internet connections, and these signals get into it in the form of packets and all, right? Using TCP/IP model. These are the various protocols which are followed to run the internet, you can say in the layman language, right? So further similar kind of setup is followed to receive the message which was sent by the sender computer to the receiver computer. So you see, in this way internet works. It looks like it is very simple and very easier, but behind the picture, the entire technical thing is there, right? So we find that if internet is not there, then our messages, our emails, everything, each and every work stuck up, right? So mainly when we talk about communication, then this communication was successful only if the computer which is linked to the internet is having an IP, right? Now what IP is? IP is a unique address, okay, which each and every computer have when it is connected to the network. It is having a unique IP address. Now what do I mean by IP? IP is internet protocol. As in the earlier slide I told you that behind this picture, behind this internet, we got various set of uh, you know a complete suite of protocol working behind internet, right, which help us to communicate, which help us to share the data, whatever we are communicating with each other. So one of the protocol is internet protocol, right, and the another one is TCP, transmission control protocol, right? These two protocols, and basically there are many other protocols also like UDP, right? And these all things work together to make this internet thing successful, right? So the IP address is basically 32-bit number expressed in 4 binary octets for the convenient notation. I can see that an example is written over here, 163.1.125.98. So in this way, the IP address is having 4 numbers, 4 binary octets, which are separated with these dots. These itself, if you talk about technically in this, these have further classes, right? It has, it can be configured either statically for a computer, or it can also be configured dynamically using DHCP protocol, that is dynamic host configuration protocol. Okay, it is functional whenever like we are moving, we are having mobile phones or we have laptops and these are connected to the internet. At that time the IP changes, or the IP dynamically configured whenever we are in a movement. It is done with the help of DHCP. Okay, so further, the subnet mask is another part of the entire address. This is not the, you need to tell the location of the computer also, which is done by the subnet mask. Okay, like in on a network, what is the location, current location of the computer? And similarly, another important information like default gateways of IP, it provides access to the wider network. So in this way, IP addresses are really very important. Presently, these 4 binary octets that we are connected with, we all are having an IP address, right? And we are connected with the help of these IPs, right? This IP is actually IPv4 notation, that is Internet Protocol version 4, right? But now, as you know that even due to pandemic also, and due to other reasons, due to modernization and all, the user base of internet is increasing, right? The user base is increasing, as if IPv6 is there. IPv6 is like earlier, presently we are using 32-bit IP address, right? 32-bit IP addresses, as we all have discussed, that it is IPv4, right? But because user base is increasing, this 32-bit address, which is like 2 raised to the power 32, and it makes near about 4 billion addresses, right? So the user base of internet has increased from 4 billion users. Like we are now, the family of internet users is grown from 4 billion users. So we will be switching gradually to 128-bit addressing, and this is called IPv6, that is Internet Protocol version 6, right? Now, what kind of IPv6 address will look like? it will be written in 8 groups of hexadecimal quadrat. Like presently we are using like 4 numbers which are separated with dots. Then in IPv6 addressing type we'll be having 8 numbers which will be separated with the dots. I hope the difference between IPv4 and IPv6 is clear to all of you. Further, if we elaborate the internet communication, like we earlier had a glimpse of a sender side and a receiver side, this was a case when two systems are communicating, like one person emails or messages something to the another person. So this communication was taking place with the help of IPs, right? As in our present scenario, if we have to talk to someone, then we need the mobile number of that person. From our mobile, it is communicated to the another mobile. We can communicate to each other, right? Similarly, this was the scenario. Now, if we talk about internet communication, like when we talk about we are accessing the websites or we are browsing something on the internet, then what is that? It is like the client side is there. As you can see in the slide, this is one client side and one server side system. So basically, internet is a kind of client server architecture wherein the client, which is like the normal user, like we all are the normal regular user, right? We will be accessing the servers, right? And server will be having the various applications or various websites hosted or deployed on it, right? I'll tell you the magnified, picture of server system, right? If you see over here, here we have a web server, right? This web server is further connected to the web application server, and then there is a database server also which is again connected to the same, right? Now what happens is web server is a server which actually helps in finding out that whether a particular client which is trying to communicate with the server, with the web application server, is a genuine user or not. You can assume that it's a kind of a security guard, right? Wherein it will check whether this particular user is a authenticated user or not, it is registered user or not. Okay. Further, if it is a registered and authenticated user and is authorized user, this client is, then it will allow that client's access to the web application server. Now, on this web application server, various websites are hosted, right? Various applications are hosted. Those can be mobile application or web application services, right? So basically, this is web application server, right? So further, these web application services or websites, definitely it will store any kind of data or some kind, like for example, if you say that these web servers are having a banking website hosted on it, so definitely they might be having your account number and your other details which will be stored in the database, right? So that is why database server is connected to it, right? So this is the entire magnified picture of what is there at the server side. Now, what actually happens when communication occurs between the client and the server side, then client sends a HTTPS request by writing down it in the URL, right? That request is received at the web server side, and then it authenticates that this particular company website visitor is an authentic user. Only then it allows to uh, get to the website, and then it gives back the response to the client, and in this way we communicate with the servers or with the websites. Okay, I hope the picture is clear now. So as we talk about that, this entire communication is based upon the protocols, right? As we talk about, there is an IP protocol on which our internet protocol, wherein we talk about the addresses which we were talking about, right? Then TCP is transmission control protocol, right? This is responsible for dividing our message into packets and then routing it to the receiving end, right? Similarly, another important protocol is HTTP. That is hypertext transfer protocol. It is very simple and extensible, and we all use it in our day-to-day life, right? It is stateless also, because it is having just two responses. One is like, we sitting here on the browser side will be sending the request to the server. This is the server, because it shows the client server model, right? So we are clients, we use browser to send the request to the server, and server give back response if he's having answer to our request, right? So display, it is a response is displayed over here, right? I hope this is entirely clear. This is very simple thing, right? We are presently using the browser, and in the browser we have a URL right on the top side, wherein we write a protocol which on which the internet is based upon, right? The protocol, then the host name, like what kind of website we are trying to go to, like let's say http facebook.com, right? So it would be this http would be the protocol, host name would be the Facebook, and port number is the number through which, like if we are using HTTP, then it would be 80, port number will be 80, and if it is HTTPS, then the port number will be 443. Okay, then further it will path and the file name. It will give you like till where you have to go, to which file, to which folder, and to which particular I can say file name you have to go, right? Similarly, there is another subset of URL. It is URI, that is Uniform Resource Identifier. In this, you have to mention the particular parameter that you want to access. Like here it has a protocol, it has a host name, it has a port number, then further it has a path which have a request parameter also, and the name of the request parameter, that is name anchor. Okay, so that tells that in this particular path, on maybe in the file or in the folder, there is a file on which in that file there is a request parameter which is requested by the URI, and that particular parameter name is anchor name anchor. Okay, so this is the difference between URL and URI. So you can see the example for the same, right? Here we have a protocol. This is a protocol. Then there's a domain name or host name, you can say this entire. Okay. Then further we have a path name wherein we have folders and files. Okay. So it is given that in civic concerned, this particular file is present in this folder, and the user have to access index.html. Okay. So this is URL, right? So this is how the HTTP protocol works. Like user, like we are the clients or the users, they issue URL from the browser. We enter this particular URL in the browser over here, right? Now this browser sends a request message. At the backend, this would be the request message wherein there will be a get method, then there will be a URL with the HTTP and its version, and along with other important details, right? Further, this will connect to the server. Now server will check that whether the requested path or requested file or directory or document is there with the server or not. Okay, if it is present over here, if the server founds this particular file and directory, it will return a response message, and that response message will be like HTTP 1.1 200 OK. 200 OK is like okay, 200 is the status code, like whatever you were asking, whatever the client was asking for, whatever it was requesting is now found out. Okay, it is present with the server, and that server is going to display that particular file or that particular folder to the client. Okay, and so this entire thing is done over HTTP, right, under TCP/IP protocol. Okay, as I told you, the entire set of protocol or standards work behind internet. That's why it is like in just a blink of an eye we get to have that display whatever we have requested for. Okay, so browser formats the response and it gets displayed on the browser. Okay, so in this way the HTTP protocol work. I hope it is clear now. Further moving to the drawback of HTTP and its evolution to HTTPS. Okay, so now as we know that this entire internet works upon client server model. Okay, so here request is sent and we get back response from the server. Okay, but when we use HTTP, that is Hypertext Transfer Protocol, the entire request and response is sent in an encrypted, in unencrypted format, in the clear text format, you can say. Okay, so when there is a clear text format, that means whatever you are sending to the server, it is in the normal language, whatever we use. Maybe someone in the network, some intruder or some attacker in the network can sniff or steal your information. He can even change your information, right? So let's have an analogy for the same. This girl Helen, she used HTTP for, let's say, some bank or some very sensitive website, and she sent her password as well, that is ABC123. Now this attacker is checking that the password which she's sending is found as it is, and he can see this, right? It is sent without any encryption and he can misuse it, right? So this was the major drawback of HTTP, for which a secure version of HTTP was accessed, and that is called HTTPS. Okay. Now this smart girl, Carol, what she did, she entered the similar kind of password to the similar kind of website, but in a much safer mode because HTTPS is there. Okay, so this HTTPS states that the entire password which was sent, it is now converted into the encrypted format, which attacker cannot guess. Okay, so in this way, HTTPS is much secure in terms of encryption, because of encryption. Okay, then further, if we talk about information and information security, then information is an asset which, like other important business assets are, we all know that what information is. It is actually when data is processed to some meaningful information is there. Okay, and then this is known as information, and it is an asset basically, right? Whatever we communicate with each other, we are actually passing information from one place or from the sender side to the receiver side. Okay, so we need to secure this asset, we need to protect this asset, protect the information, and for that another a very important terminology comes in, that is information security. Now, information security is the process of protecting the intellectual property of the organization. And now you may wonder that when we are talking about business asset, right? If we talk about any business, let's say we talk about very normal, like any restaurant business, right? In that, whatever recipes which are famous, for the name of that restaurant is famous because of those recipes. If those recipes are leaked or they are stolen by someone, some competitor hotel, then the business of that restaurant will fail. It will be stolen somewhere. So you see, this any piece of information can be very critical. It can be very sensitive. Okay, if we talk about like we are making some online transaction and our password or credit card details are that also is an information only. If it gets out to some wrong hand, it can be misused. So you see, information security is very important. Okay. Further, now why information security is important? It is important to ensure the availability of business. Obviously, if our information is not safe, if those recipes, those secret ingredients information is not safe, then what business that restaurant will have? Okay, obviously it will go to the loss. So we have to take care of the confidentiality, integrity, and availability of that information asset. Right? We have to protect the data and information system, because if we become unsuccessful in doing that, it can lead to the brand and reputation loss. Okay, so further with these best practices, the increased productivity is assured, right? It gives us higher level of assurance that if there is information security, definitely the business is going to grow. Okay, and the competitive advantage will also be there. It will enable us to, grow the business and recover also in the form of in the time of disaster or for risk management. Okay, so information security is an organizational problem rather than IT problem. Basically, we have to secure information from the internal threats because 60% of the culprits are first time fraudsters, and we have to, you know, secure the information because it belongs to the people only. So we can say that indirectly people are the biggest asset with whom those information is related to, and people are at the biggest, they are on the risk. So we have to secure, by securing the information we are indirectly securing the people and their mental health only. Okay, so as per ISO 27002 2005, it defines internet security as the preservation of EIA triad. CIA triad means confidentiality, integrity, and availability. We will discuss these three pillars into details because these three verticals are the basis of the information security. They three act as a pillar on which this entire building is standing, right? So you can consider these three as a heart of information security, right? By preserving these confidentiality, integrity, and availability, basically, you can easily reach to the objective of information security, right? Very many other verticals are also added into it, like authenticity or non-repudiation or reliability, right? But these three, confidentiality, integrity, and availability, are must. Okay, so further if you see this analogy, it will tell you that the normal flow which we were trying to have is a security issues which we are going to discuss, right? When sender and receiver both are communicating with each other successfully without any third person's intervention, then it was a normal flow. Okay, this was a normal flow that wherein sender was also happy and the receiver was also happy. Okay, then in our next slide you can see that when sender tried to send a message but it was intervened by an attacker and it never reached the receiver, then there was a problem, right? There was a problem of interruption. Okay, because attacker did not allowed the message to be reaching the receiver. Okay, so there was an interruption wherein the communication was not successful. The sender was also unhappy and the receiver was also unhappy, right? Similarly, in the next scenario, you can see in the next scenario, the sender is sending the same message again, right? But the receiver has not got that exact message because it has been modified by the attacker, right? Because the channel by which that message was being sent is not exact, you can say, is not secure, you can say. So that is why attacker did some modification due to which both sender and receiver are not happy. This is another security issue wherein modification occurs. Okay, in our next uh, scenario, I think the internet is slow, for which you are getting this problem of buffering. So in the next scenario, the sender is sending the message, but the cannot, uh, attacker is again intercepting that message. That is, the attacker is listening to or copying that message, and again the entire scenario is unhappy. Now in the fifth part, you can see over here, wherein it is being fabricated by the attacker only, and this attacker is sending the message to the receiver, and the receiver seems that maybe the sender has sent this, so the message has been fabricated, the information is being fabricated. Okay, so fabrication occurs. And now in the last case wherein both sender and receiver are unhappy. And how? Because there is lack of reliability. Now sender seems like maybe the message has received or not, maybe he got it or not. Okay, and similarly the receiver is also in a dilemma, like maybe sender has sent it or somebody else has sent it, so there is loss of reputation. Okay, so if you see, if there is interruption in the entire communication or information sending, then there is lack of availability. If there is some modification is there, then there is an integrity issue. If there is an interception, means your information is shared by a third person, then there is no confidentiality. Okay, and if the message being received is fabricated by the attacker, then there is authenticity problem, right? And if there is a reliability problem, reliability issue, then that will be non-reputation or reliability, non-reliability problem. So these all are the security issues which must be avoided by working upon on availability, integrity, confidentiality, authenticity, and non-reputation or non-reliability. We can easily mug up the information security. So you see, there is an unexpected success in the field of internet, wherein we all see that in the 1990s we just had a basic connectivity, wherein the network was evolving, the internet was evolving in a bigger number, in a bigger shape. In 2000s, there were application specific online content wherein websites came into the picture, and we started using websites in big number. Further in the next decade there was a more tilt in the technology. When cloud came into the picture, we started using various cloud features in order to ease the reachability and accessibility to the internet. Further, today we are in the age of IoT, wherein each and every device we use is generating massive amount of data and information. This technology, you can see it's evolving with decades, as per decades. And now, not even decades, it's in like every other year we get to have a new and better technology in our hands, right? So you see the evolution of technology is increasing. It is evolving, and so as our security problems are also evolving. And this evolution should not stop, because we should also evolve the solution for these problems. Okay, so by having this secure thing, if we work upon the information security thing, obviously the security issues will be solved, they will be rectified, and this evolution should never stop. Now, if we see the bigger picture, presently we have discussed the information security and the network security as well, because the attacker attacks from the network only. And if my network is secure, like if I am using encrypted, everything is encrypted over there, then there will be no issue of information security if my network is secure. And further, similarly, cyber security is on the top of all, right? So cyber security means protecting the data and information network. That is, it uses technology for securing IT and ICT products, right? Wherein the safety means protecting the user from the harmful online content. It means we are trying to focus on the people, we are trying to protect the people, and itself, it will protect their physical as well as emotional well being. Okay, so in this way, cybersecurity is different. If we talk about IT security is also called as computer security, wherein these IT security specialists are there, which are responsible for keeping this technology of the organization secure from the malicious attack, right? And each and every organization, there is a security department wherein they take care of your infrastructure, your entire private information, and so that some other person cannot gain any access to it. For that reason, they use intranet and all, right? So, this is because of the IT security, that the information security can be secured, right? So, further, if we talk about how a web application by web application we mean a website. As we now maybe we have taken many examples. Now you must be very clear that it this entire communication works on client and server model, right? So how this server works, what are web servers, what are web application servers, and what are database servers with which we communicate and how we communicate, right? This picture is entirely clear to you. Similarly, here it is, there is one user who is trying to access the shopping cart order on the website, and it will get connected to the internet and further to the company's network, wherein there are web servers, there are web application server and database servers. Okay, if the username password of this particular user is not correct, it will stop it here only. Okay, it will not allow this client, this user, to get access to these website services. Okay, so all in all, we must have authenticity first in order to conserve it, right? Now we knew that where we can stop the unknown users, right? Now another important technology came up, which is the vulnerability. Now what vulnerability is, let us assume if in this case we were not checking that whether this user is an authenticated user or not, that means this was the weakness of these web servers only. So basically, vulnerability is nothing but the weakness. Sorry, it is basically the weakness, right, of an asset that can be exploited by one or more attacker. Now, instead, if the web servers have not checked the authentication, any anonymous user would have come into the web application server and would have exploited it. So, vulnerability is actually a bug or a defect in the software which remains unfixed, right? And they exploit this entire information. Similarly, threat is what? Threat is an event which has the potential or the power to bring harm to the organization. Right? These can be a natural threat, natural threat, unintentional threat, or intentional threat also. Right? Then further risk is what? When some vulnerability is attacked and damage is caused, a loss is caused because of that threat. Right? That vulnerability is exposed, exploited, and this kind of loss or damage is known as risk. You can see risk is equals to threat and into multiplied by vulnerability. So more will be the vulnerability, more will be the risk. More will be the threat, more will be the risk. They are directly proportional to each other. Okay. So further, similarly, as the user use this entire server side system, the attacker also attacks in the same way. Okay, but it exploits the weakness over here. So you see, web servers are like security guards who are who are providing security to web application server and database servers. Okay, so if this attacker bypass this particular security barricade, he can easily exploit the web application server and compromise the database also. Okay, so we need to be very careful. Now, if we talk about, like, we have to be very careful from the attacker because he's posing some attacks. What kind of attacks he's posing, right? This we have to think about, because we now know the, like, what all is the scenario of internet, how it communicates, what all are the weaknesses. Like, there is some internet weakness or network vulnerabilities are there, or some website is having some vulnerabilities. So what kind of attacks are there now, that we have to know? So there are various kind of attacks. as we will discuss it one by one, right? The first one is malware attack. Malware attack is nothing but some malicious software which is installed in your system. Whenever you download something, maybe there is some software which is getting installed in your system. That particular software is in turn, you know, it is providing control, a kind of remote control to the attacker. Now he can pick any of your information, your sensitive information from your computer, and can lock it, or maybe delete it, or maybe modify it, okay, or copy it. So in this way your those three things of CIA is lost. Okay, then next we have phishing. Now in phishing what happens is your like a mail comes to you, okay, and we being an unaware user, we don't know about this mail. Maybe this mail is related to some banking uh, side, okay. Now that in that mail it is written like, please change your credit card password or your pin number, okay. The moment you will click it and you will change the password, that password will be changed by the attacker. He will get to know the your password, right? And this way this is called phishing attack. Okay, the next one is password attack. Now what password attack is here, your attack the attacker is guessing your password, okay, maybe like it is of 8 alphabet length, right? And you are using alphabets for it, right? You have given a password, very simple password, right? And user is able to guess it, attacker is able to guess it. So this can be a password attack. This guessing is not like manually, there are various algorithms which work over it. Like there is a brute force algorithm also, right? In brute force what is there, like we used to study permutation and combination in our school times, that there is a probability of 26 alphabets at each place, right? So this brute force algorithm uses the same concept, and it guesses that particular word which you have kept as a password. So that is why it is always recommended to use a strong password, which should be the combination of capital letters, small letters, numbers, and alphanumerics also, right? So that that brute force algorithm will not be able to crack it. Okay. So similarly, another kind of attack is DDoS attack. DDoS attack is distributed denial of service attack, wherein the server is requested by the million of users at a time, and in turn, server gets loaded and it stop giving the service. Okay, so DDoS attack is entirely, denial of service. That is, it do not give back any response because of multiple requests are coming at a time. Okay, so this is another kind of attack because it leads to the lack of availability of the information. Then further there is man in the middle attack, as the example we took in, wherein client and server both were communicating with each other, and some intruder was there who was listening to their conversation. So this is man in the middle, means man in the network who is trying to sniff or change or fabricate the message or fabricate the information. So this is man in the middle attack. Then further there another kind of attack is drive by download. So drive by downloads means whenever we are downloading something from the site which is downloading it for free, like any software or any movie we are downloading, right? And it's for free, available for free, we don't have to pay anything. There might be some suspicious file or some malware which will get installed into your system, and you won't be able to even get to know that it is installed. Okay, so this is another kind of attack, that is drive by download. Okay, further we have maladvertising. Maladvertising is like when something is being shown to you which is some malicious in nature. For example, like in various websites, maybe there is some link which will lead you to some water hole, wherein you may be trapped out in there, and some malware is installed on your system again with the help of this. Okay, so this is maladvertising, and some bad content is shown to you. Then further, rogue software is there. Rogue software is like a software, it is like another normal software, but it is rogue in nature. That means some attacker is controlling it. This software is in your system, it is installed in your system, but it will be completely controlled or accessed by the attacker, not by you. This is rogue software. Okay, so these are the various basic attacks that I wanted to show you, that I wanted to enlighten you that actually it happens. Okay, now whenever we say that we will crack the encrypted data, that means it is an attack on confidentiality, right? These all these attacks which we discussed actually attacks the confidentiality, integrity and availability of the information. Okay, so when we talk about that the encryption is cracked, okay, that means your information is no more secure now, it is no more confidential now. Okay, if we say that man in the middle attack is there, that means your text, whatever text or whatever information you were sending, it is in the plain text form, right? It is in the clear readable format, and now attacker can attack it. Okay, when we say that there is a data leakage or some unauthorized copying of sensitive data is there, then again your confidentiality of the information is lost. Okay, when we say that some spyware or some malware is being installed on your system or on your server, that again means whatever secrecy or whatever confidentiality you were having for that particular system is lost now. Your information is no longer secure now. Okay, similarly, integrity. When integrity is lost, when there is some unauthorized database scan, when there is some malware penetration, when there is some forging of record is there, or some remotely controlling zombie system has been created, then your integrity is attacked. Okay, then further if we talk about availability, as we talked that in DDoS attack wherein multiple requests are generated at a time, then your server do not response, that means your information is no longer available to you. Okay, there is some ransomware attack. In ransomware attack what happens is it's like your information is locked by the attacker into some box, and the key is only with the attacker only. If you want that key so that you can access your information, you will have to pay a heavy amount of money. Okay, so this is ransomware attack. Then further, maybe some there is some flooding of request or all, right? So these all are attacks on confidentiality, integrity and availability. Okay, now we know that what information is, uh, how information security is important to us, what are the various weaknesses due to which attacker attack it, and what are the various attacks that can harm the confidentiality, integrity and availability. Now we need to know that how we can protect it from now. Protection from what? Protection from unauthorized modification. We need to protect our information from unauthorized deletion. We need to protect our information from unauthorized access. Okay, so that the confidentiality, integrity and availability is not lost, they are protected. So it's time to fix now. Now how we will fix it? We will fix it by first identifying that where is the weakness, where is the vulnerability. Because vulnerability is the only cause wherein attacker can attack. If there is no weakness, like for example in our body, if there is no weakness, any kind of virus or any kind of disease cannot attack us. Similarly, if there is no vulnerability, we cannot be attacked by attacker. Okay, so we need to first identify that where is the vulnerability, whether it is the website, whether it is on the network, or it is on the server. Where the vulnerability is, we have to identify it. And if now we got to know the list of vulnerabilities, okay, these are the vulnerabilities, we have to analyze them and evaluate them, that what kind of loss we can uh, bear, like what all are the important vulnerabilities that we have to fix it, and what all is the loss that we can uh, face if we do not fix it. Then further we have to treat it. We have to fix these vulnerabilities. Like in security audits, what happens is the websites which are to be hosted on the servers, they are first checked for the security, that whether this particular website or let it be any web application or mobile application, whatever it is, whether it is safe, secure or not. If it is not secure, then it is having vulnerabilities, it is first treated. Okay, they are first fixed and only then it is employed or deployed on the servers. Okay, so in this way we can say that we need to secure ourselves. And how we can secure ourselves? We can secure by having awareness. Like when we go to some crowded places, what we go to, we just keep our valuable or our very precious things at a very safe place. Okay, similarly, whenever you access internet, you should first check that what kind of information you have. Is it important to you, and is it secure if you are going to the internet with that information? Okay, and what will happen if it goes into some wrong hands? You will have to assess that also. You will have to evaluate that if this information, if my credit card details, if my OTP, if my any kind of password to my social media website, or any kind of password, if it goes into some attacker's hand, what will happen? Then once it is done, once it is evaluated, then you will have to take some adequate precautions. Like it should not go into the wrong hands. What precautions you will take so that it may be protected? Okay, so for that you have to secure yourself, and for securing yourself, you will have to just see the few common steps, right? That is, you will have to use your common sense before getting into something, before sending information, before sharing any kind of information. You have to use your common sense, that why this person is asking for such kind of information. Okay, you need to have awareness that these all things are happening around and I must be aware of these things. You should check that whether my system is properly scanned, it is having antiviruses, it is having anti spywares. Okay, it is regularly updated or not. Okay, the software which you are using is a recent update or not. So you need to update your softwares time to time. Okay, you need to be very careful while you are sharing some file. Okay, and even while downloading, that what you are downloading you must be aware of, and from where you are downloading, that you should also take care. Okay, then you should read the messages of the computer very carefully. Whenever that window pops up, we just blindly click next, 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 and we do not even read that message. But you must read that message, and only then you should click next or okay. Okay, further, be careful if you read an email, especially when it do not belongs to someone you know. Okay, if there is some anonymous email, you should avoid even opening it and even reading it. Okay, if there is some attachment along with it, you should not at all open it or download it. Okay, maybe that is some malware or some remote access Trojan is there, or okay, so it might be some virus also. So you should not download it, you should not open it at any cost. Okay, keep your password strong and to yourself only. It should be strong and you should not share it with anyone. So in this way, it can lead to cybersecurity, cyber ethics, and cyber safety. Okay, so I hope the entire picture of internet fundamentals and information security details are clear to you. If there are some queries, please you can ask me, or you can even email me at karanpreet@cdec.in. Thank you for now. If there is some queries, you can please ask.
All right. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you very much. And participants, if you have any queries, kindly keep it in the chat area, which is on the right side of the participants list. If you have any queries, keep it in the chat area so that we will try to address those queries related to this session. or any other queries like which you have experienced or which have any issues kind of thing. Kindly keep it in the chat area so that ma'am will try to explain those questions. So that sound, screen and all the things, sometimes if there is any delay, it will happen. Otherwise, from our side, it is clear. And at the same time, wherever you are sitting, please ensure you have a good bandwidth and audio, like audio settings, like you have to take care of your audio settings of your device so that it will be clear for all of you. Yeah, any questions? Please keep it in the chat area. Any kind of questions. All right. So thank you, Karmanpreet ma'am, for your time as well as enlightening us on those aspects, internet and information security fundamentals. So it was clearly explained and it was clear to most of the participants. Hope so.
Thank you so
And
much, sir.
thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
Thanks a
So
lot.
if there are any queries, please say yes or no in the chat area at least so that we will move on to the next session. I request
Right.
all the participants, shall we move to the next session or if you have any questions?
Please ask if there is any query.
Yes, ma'am. I think everyone is appreciating. Can we have some do's and don'ts for everyday life will follow? Okay.
Right, right. Okay, thank you so much, sir.
Yeah, we will let you know. Thanks, madam, for the excellent lecture.
Thank you so much, sir.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, yes. Lot of appreciation. Kindly differentiate more elaborately between the information security and cyber security. Wow.
Okay, information security and cyber security itself are, interrelated to each other. But you can say that cyber security is a bigger aspect and information security is a part of it. Like in cyber security and information security, uh, if we talk about information security, this entire lecture was based upon information security only. If we talk about cyber security, it is more upon malwares and ransomwares and the network traffic which is monitored from time to time. Like there are various like SIM kind of things, or IDS and IPS are also there to monitor the network trafficking. Like if some payload is there, they need to monitor the entire logs and they capture it over there only, right? So that is cyber security, which includes the information security, your network security, IT security, and whole lot of things, right? So all these steps leads to cyber security. You can say cyber security is the building, the uppermost buildings, and information security is the basic, the first floor of this entire security tower. Okay, so when we talk about like we are checking the network traffic, like we are using SIM, that is security incident and event management. In that various SIMs are there in today's market. We are using at organization level also. There are various security operation centers which check the security of the network through logs, various logs, like your router generates log, your firewall generate log, and in those logs if some malicious or some anonymous, you can say, payload is there, it is captured, or some incident is going to happen, some attacker is trying to attack you, it is captured over there and it is blacklisted. Okay, so in this way cybersecurity work. Another kind of vertical is like when we work upon IPS and IDS or honeypots, right? So honeypot is basically you are attracting the attackers, and when those attackers attack that honeypot, you blacklist them, right? So these are the various technologies which are kept there in order to secure the organization, right? Using the cybersecurity thing. So basically malwares, ransoms, these all things come under cybersecurity.
All right, ma'am. Thank you. And another question is DDoS. DDoS full form.
DDoS is distributed denial of service. D
All
for
right.
distributed denial of service. That is, it is a scenario, or it is an attack wherein using some tool or using some algo, like there is a slow loris tool, right? Using this tool, multiple requests are generated, and these requests are sent to a single server, and that particular server do not respond because it cannot handle those multiple millions and billions of requests at a time, so it stop giving response. Okay, when response is not given by the server, that means the availability of information is not there. So this is again a security issue. It is attack on the availability of the information. Okay, so DDoS is a kind of attack.
All right, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. And Seema, ma'am, now we will try to address almost all the questions. And if there are any questions left out, that doesn't mean that like we are not covering here. You will be having another 3 more sessions. So maybe we are covering as part of those sessions. Maybe because of that, like we may not able to answer some of the question in the interest of the time. Otherwise, we'll try to take all the questions and try to address all the questions. All right. Thank you, ma'am, for your suggestion. How far antivirus saves from the attacks? Yes, ma'am. Like the next question is, how far antivirus saves from the attacks?
Look, antivirus is not 100% solution. You can say it protect us a bit of, you can say not up to that extent, but yes, it help us in actually telling or scanning that there is some virus in your system and remove it, but up to some extent. Otherwise, you should also have a spyware along with antivirus. Okay, so any other question?
Yes, ma'am. Can firewall, web server, and data server connected in a single switch?
Sorry.
Can firewall, web
Yes.
server, and data
Mm-hmm.
servers connected in a single switch?
This is like it is up to the network administrator, I think, how it design its network. Like it, he wants to put it in a single switch or not. It is up to the network administrator.
Yeah, Neeta Kulkarni, ma'am, I think URI and URL was explained in the session. What is the advocated to use DNS filter while using the public Wi-Fi? Okay, why is it advocated to use DNS filter while using the public Wi-Fi, ma'am?
Public Wi-Fi, look, public Wi-Fi is again a very dangerous kind of thing whenever we use Wi-Fi, which is like not restricted in nature, like it is not having any username and password. Whenever we make any kind of transaction on the public Wi-Fi or we use public Wi-Fi, again, the similar kind of attacks can be there because it is not having any kind of restriction. It is not checking any kind of filtration, any kind of authentication it is checking. That is why it is recommended to use either VPN if you are using Wi-Fi to access the various websites which are sensitive, which is having your information, so that public Wi-Fi vulnerabilities do not give impact on your information.
Okay,
Okay,
the
that
next
is why
question
these
is HTTPS is always secure?
HTTPS, you see, anything and everything is not 100% secure. If we talk about antiviruses, if we talk about spywares, if we talk about, as our technology is evolving, our knowledge is evolving, attackers are also improving their information. They are also improving their technology. Okay, so it is like both sides. They are attacking and we are defending. The stronger our shield would be, maybe more stronger their sword would be. Okay, so it is not always that it is 100% like if you use HTTPS you are 100% secure.
Yeah.
It is like we are 99.9% secure, but sometimes it happens that 0.1% we can be not secure because these days attacks are also evolving.
Or
Okay,
HTTPS, yes, ma'am. Hardware firewalls are sufficient to safeguard ourselves from these attacks.
sorry, I can't get it what you're saying.
Hardware firewalls are sufficient.
Look, firewall is again whatever settings, whatever blacklisting you will do, it will stop all these things only. What about 0 days attack? They cannot stop it. Okay, so you need to be very vigilant about it.
Yes, ma'am. Okay, one more question. Along with the Windows Defender, do we need additional antivirus?
You're using Window Defender. That is also a good option, but again, I told you not 100%. Window Defender is also a good option, like antivirus you use. It will perform the similar kind of thing, but it's better if you use the entire package of that. I would suggest that even in organization there would be a sim installed on it so that the organization be entirely secure. Okay.
Okay, ma'am. And the QR code scan we will talk about in the evening, sir. Like last session, we will talk about, sir. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. I think you are for patiently answering all the questions. Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you
you
so
so
much,
much.
sir.
Thank you. Cloud security for attack. Yes, sir. Like whether it is the cloud security, unless and until if you have a high end in the security, it is always difficult to safeguard your information. Whether it is a cloud, is cloud also like they have security things. If at all if you are using a free cloud, no one can assure you any kind of security. If it is a paid security, they will be having some controls and you will be having some controls. As a whole, we can safeguard our data, but it is not ensure we cannot. No one can ensure you that entire data is secure in the cloud storage also. Okay, hope it answers your query. Thank you, Karanpreet ma'am, for your wonderful and enlightening session. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, sir.
Yes, ma'am. So the next session, as we discussed, like we were going to have, what is a data security, a bit of slightly we were touching upon data security, password, password policy and browser security. These aspects we are going to discuss in the, in the second session. So for taking this second session, we have with us, Kajal Kashyap ma'am. She is also project engineer at CDAC Mohali, and she also had a vast experience in this, cyber security domain. And she also involved in government official training program and other, security audit and those areas also. Okay, so we welcome Kajal Kashyap ma'am for taking the session on this. And now itself, I was, requesting all the participants. The session may go beyond 12:40. Hope it is okay with all of you because we have taken more than 20 minutes of ahead time. So I request all of you kindly stay back beyond 12:40 also. We will try to conclude at the earliest. Is it okay with all of you if the session goes beyond 12:30 or like we have to conclude only at 12:30? Can you please say yes or no in the chat area? I request everyone to please say yes or no. All right. So we are receiving a number of SS. So the session will go beyond 12:50. Sorry, 12:30. Okay. And Kazar ma'am, she will cover as per her convenience. All right. Thank you, sir ma'am, for your encouraging, words. So Kajal Kashyap ma'am, it's floor is yours. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. So, once again, a very good morning to all the respected participants. And in this session, we are going to talk about the importance of data protection and how we actually can secure ourselves from the, threats and attacks that are going on the internet, and how we can secure our data as well as secure ourselves from these kind of attacks. So let's start with the first thing, that what is the number of internet users in India by the year of 2022. So here we can see some numbers here, that we have all in all 840 million internet users are here right now, and then 70% of e-commerce transactions are done via mobile phones, because everybody is right now carrying their mobile phones. They are easy to carry, and they are easy to do things on mobiles. So we mostly prefer to do most of the stuffs on our mobile phones, and 50% of travel transactions are done through online mode. And then we have 175 million online shoppers. So as this in this pandemic situation also, it is most preferable to do the online shopping, so that we can save ourselves. And then we have 2.2 billion mobile connections, and 448 million social media users are here in the year of, or we can say by the year of 2022. And then you can see here that there are some recent data breaches, which we can see here. There are some companies, which is Upstocks. Here 2.5 million user KYC details are already breached. And then we have seen a recent attack in Domino's India, where 1 million user credit card information has been leaked. And then there were attack in MobiQuick, where 3.5 million user KYC details were leaked. And then JustPay, Big Basket, and Dunzo. So in the most of these companies, we have seen recent data breaches, and there were a lot of information that were leaked in the dark web also. Then coming to the this particular term, that what actually is cybercrime. So if we talk about cybercrime, then basically cybercrime is, we can say is a kind of criminal activity that will, target your any electronic device or any network device. So the main aim of performing cybercrime is to take your information, is to gather your personal information. It can be anything. So here hackers will perform any sort of criminal activity with your device in order to gather information of yours. So here you can see a major attack vector of cybercrime is to exploit broken software. So here I would like to focus on this particular word, that is broken software. So what do you mean by broken software? So basically broken software are those software which basically we do not update, when we do not update our softwares, when we do not update our applications hardware on regular basis. So in some period of time that will become weak. If we say in simple term, that will become weak, and that will become very easy to broke, or that will become very easy to hack. So here comes the role of cyber criminals. What they are going to do, they are searching for these kind of broken softwares so that they can easily exploit those broken software, and they can easily enter in you know any target machine or any user system, we can say that. So talking about cybercrime, from this particular term there comes three terms also, that is vulnerability, threat, and risk. So let's talk about one by one. So simply, if I say what is vulnerability, so vulnerability are the weaknesses when we do not update our applications, softwares, hardwares. Then in some period of time, that will become easy to hack, and that will become weak. So vulnerability is similar when you do not update your applications on your mobile phones, on your laptops, on your systems. That will basically, these are the weaknesses. Next we have is threat. So what actually a threat? So a threat refers to, we can say, new or newly discovered any sort of risk that can harm your system, that can harm your company, that can harm your device. So that is actually a threat. Next we have is risk. So basically risk is the potential for loss or damage when threat, any sort of threat will exploit the vulnerability. So these are the terms that is interrelated with each other. If one thing happen, other thing will automatically happens. So these are the major differences between these three terms. Let's move ahead. Okay, here you can see threats and common applications that we are using nowadays. So we mostly are dependent on our mobile phones for most of the work. So for doing a lot of work, we need a lot of applications, right? So what we are going to do, we are using a lot of applications like online taxi applications, education applications. For doing banking things, we need banking applications, shopping applications, job portals, chatting, instant messaging applications, travel and hotel booking applications, and online gaming, all of the stuff. So we are using a lot of applications day by day in our mobile phones, right? So what happens is, we shall not forget that there are some advantages of using these applications, but on the other hand we have some disadvantages also, right? So whenever we are using these sort of applications, first we have to download the applications, then we have to register in that applications. Now while doing the registration, the application will ask our personal information like our name, our mobile number, email address, and other stuff. Also, if the application is paid, that will ask our financial information like what is our debit card information, like from what will be the mode of payment, right? So they will ask the information to us. So what happens is, let's suppose we are giving our personal information to these applications. Now one day what happens when any application can got breached or any application can got hacked anytime, right? So all in all, uh, it is basically recommended to do not download the applications which are not trustable, and do not download the applications which basically like do not download unwanted applications. Just download limited applications, and before downloading the applications you need to check the reviews and you need to check the ratings also of that particular applications. Also, some people are basically habitual to download a lot of applications in their mobile phones, which they do not use a lot. So, first thing, what you can do is only download the applications which you use on your daily basis. Okay. And second thing, always try to just update all your applications on regular basis, so that it will not become vulnerable, and your data and your mobile phone and whatever the device you are using is totally safe. Third thing is, if you are a Android user, straightly goes to the Play Store and download all the applications from there itself. And if you are a iOS user, straightly go to the App Store and download all the applications from there. Just ignore or do not download the applications from any sort of links, any sort of websites, because we cannot trust right now that this is the genuine link or this is the genuine website. So sometimes we also receive a lot of links on our WhatsApp messages on or our social media application, then that please download this application, or this is a gaming application, a lot of fun will be there. So do not download these sort of applications from any unwanted links or any unwanted websites. Next we have what actually is cyber security. So if I talk about cybersecurity, then this is basically we can say a collective method, or we can say a collective, or we can say a lot of technology, we can say it, and processes. So cybersecurity can be called as collective method, technologies, or processes which will help which will basically help the uh, which will help the system in order to secure their data, in order to secure any sort of device, or it will protect our network, it will protect our computer, it will basically protect all of the stuff from any sort of attack, from any sort of damage, or any sort of unauthorized access. So if you are a authorized person, then only you will be able to access the information. Else, if you are unauthorized, you will not be able to access the information. So this comes under cybersecurity. If a person is authorized, then only he or she will be able to access the information, otherwise not. So as you can see here, as the internet users are increasing day by day, security threats are also increasing day by day. So we shall not forget that we need to use the internet like in a very secured way. So here you can see a major part of cybersecurity is to fix broken software. Now in the previous slide we have seen that the major part of cybercrime is to exploit those broken software. Now the work comes of cybersecurity is to fix those broken software. Now what in cybersecurity, what security teams are doing, they are searching for these kind of broken software, and once they got these kind of broken software, they will try to fix those broken software by updating it, or by implementing security mechanisms on those softwares. Here you can see there are few components which is related to cybersecurity. So we have added here online privacy, security padlock. Whenever we are talking about cybersecurity, these comes handy. So whenever we are talking about cybersecurity, online privacy plays a big important role. Security padlock, surveillance camera, secure payment, antivirus firewall, mobile security, global secure shield, and here we have computer security. Now, talking about cybersecurity is like fine, but what actually cybersecurity makes, what changes cybersecurity makes, or we can say what are the goals of cybersecurity? So, if we are talking about the goals, then we have three goals. First one, we have confidentiality, integrity, and availability. So, let's talk about one by one. So, if I talk about this particular term, that is confidentiality, so that means if you are an authorized person, then only you will be able to access any sort of information. Let's suppose I'm working in a particular organization, and so I should only have the right to access the information of that particular organization. If another third person come in my organization, then he or she shall not have the right to access the information about my organization. So this is confidentiality. And talking about integrity, so integrity means whatever the data or information is there, it shall remain same, it shall not be tempered, it shall not be changed by anyhow. So let me give you a very small example. So let's suppose I have sent you one message like, hi, how are you? So the receiver shall also receive the same message, and the meaning shall also remain same. So this is integrity, that the data or the meaning or the information shall remain same, and it shall not be tampered. So this is basically the goal of cybersecurity. And next we have integrity. Availability. So availability means whenever authorized person is in a need of any resources, so the resources shall be readily available to him. So this is availability. Let's move ahead. Okay, here you can see what is actually happening in 60 seconds, or we can say in just 1 minute, in the world of social media. So here you can see a lot of social media applications in which there are a lot of data is going on. So if I talk about few applications, then I'll start with the Facebook one. So if I talk about Facebook, then 1.4 million people are scrolling in just under 60 seconds. So you can imagine that how much of people are engaged in these social media applications. And then if I talk about YouTube, then 500 hours of content are uploaded in just under 60 seconds. And then we have the most famous application, that is WhatsApp. So here 69 million messages are sent in just under 60 seconds. And the same for, you know, Facebook Messenger. This is also 69 million messages are sent in just under 60 seconds. So this is a very huge data. And if I talk about this particular famous application Netflix, then 28,000 subscribers are watching in just under 60 seconds. And then 21.1 million texts are sent in just under 60 seconds. And a lot of data is going on, you know. So you all can imagine that how much of data is traveling across the internet in just under 1 minute. Then what about the other timings, right? So this is a lot of data that, or we can say a lot of person are engaged in the social media applications right now. Next, we have how does Google track you? So everybody asks a question that how Google knows everything about us, like what is our likes, what is our, what kind of product we like, and what kind of things we like, right? So here comes the answer, that Google will get all the likes from our own end. So what we are going to do whenever we are using these components like Google Chrome, YouTube, Maps, these applications, so this will take all our information and straightly pass to the Google. So this is how Google knows everything about us. So whenever we are using Google Chrome browser, so it will store all our history, right? So it will basically share the history, or through that history, we can say that through that history, Google knows what kind of websites we visit on daily basis, or what kind of websites or what kind of things we like to do on the internet. And then we have YouTube. So the way, or we can say the kind of videos we watched mostly. So this is how Google knows that, okay, this person like this kind of videos a lot. And then we have Google Maps. So whenever we want to travel anywhere, we search for a particular location. So this will store all of our data in their database. So this will pass our information to Google. And there is one Hangout application which mostly present in your Android mobile phones. So whenever we use these application, this particular application Hangout, it will ask us, whenever we just open this particular application, it will ask us to make a default for our contacts and conversation. So when you click OK, it will save all our contacts, it will save all our conversations there. And then we have photos applications. So whenever you know tag people, whenever you um, save photos in this particular application, it will share our information. Then the calendar applications we have Google search query. So whatever queries you search on Google, it will also gather information from this Google search browser. And everybody knows about Gmail. So Gmail saves, or we can say Gmail has all our contacts, email sent, what kind of emails we receive, everything is there with Gmail. And then what kind of shopping app, whenever we are using shopping applications, so what kind of products we search on, what kind of products are there in our wish list, so Google knows everything about us. And what kind of ads we click on, what kind of news websites we visit. So these are the few things through which Google get to know about us. So it is recommended that whenever you are done with your daily activity, or whenever you are done with your browser, it is recommended to delete all your browser history. It is recommended to delete your YouTube watch history, and just delete whatever the history, whatever the cache is there in your browser. So in this way, we can mostly save ourselves and our information. Next, it is a very interesting topic, that is digital footprint. So most of the people are not aware about digital footprint and this particular term. So basically, uh, all in all, I can say that a digital footprint is a trail of data you create while using the internet. So basically, whenever you are using internet, it will automatically create a file in which everything is written there, and it will store on the internet. For example, you have searched for like uh, nearby restaurants. Sorry, what is the nearest restaurant in my from my house, right? So it will also save this thing in a particular file on the internet. So from small to big, everything is storing on the internet, and internet will be able to know everything about us. So it includes what kind of websites you visit, what kind of emails you send, what kind of email you receive, and what sometimes we also submit some information on online forms, right? So this also saves in that particular file on the internet. So this is digital footprint, that whatever we are doing from small to big, all we can say all is storing on the internet in a particular file from your name. So we need to be careful about what kind of things we are sharing on the internet, where we are sharing the things, and what kind of impact can be there in the future for sharing that thing, right? And with whom we are sharing the information. So before sharing, or before searching for any information, we need to think twice before doing anything over the internet. Now we have two type of digital footprint. First one, we have the passive digital footprint, and the other one we have active digital footprint. So if I talk about the passive one, so in passive digital footprint, sometimes we unintentionally leave our information on the internet, and we basically don't know that, okay, we have shared our information on the internet. For example, whenever you are opening any website, so it will automatically track your IP address. It will automatically um, take information about your web server. It will automatically take information about your ISP, internet service provider. So these are the information that will automatically straightly goes to the internet once we search for anything, right? And we basically don't know that we have shared this information on the internet. Talking about the active digital footprint, this is the information that we solely are giving to the internet. Basically, we are responsible for sharing our information to the internet. For example, let me give you a very small example. Let's suppose you are new to Facebook, right? So whenever you are new to Facebook, you will create one account, and it will ask you to provide your information, like your personal information, like your name, from which college you have graduated, from which school you have studied, and where you are currently working, what is where you were working in the past, what are your hobbies and things like that. So we solely are responsible for providing our personal information to the internet. So this is active digital footprint. We are aware that we have shared the information on the internet. Now we need to be careful and we need to be smart about what kind of websites we visit and what kind of emails you are opening and what kind of links you are clicking upon, because everything is storing on the internet. So we need to be careful about what kind of things or what kind of activities we are doing on the internet. Now, here comes the question, how to preserve your digital footprint. So, there is one thing that we can do is always think long term before posting anything over anywhere. So do not share anything over social media applications. Some people are habitual to share any post without thinking twice on the internet. So you need to think twice before sharing those stuffs or any picture or any video, because everything is storing on the internet. Next, avoid making virtual or online friends, because we never know who is the person sitting behind the other screen, right? And we cannot trust those kind of persons. Keep your personal information private as much as possible. There are a lot of privacy settings given on social media applications. Just try to utilize those privacy settings, because these are for your safety, your privacy. Every social media application has the privacy settings. You can go there and just search for all the privacy settings to and try to enhance your privacy settings there, and try to check like in like 10 to 15 minutes that sorry in 10 to 15 days that what kind of privacy settings is there in your social media applications. You need to make sure that whatever the information present on the social media application of yours is totally secure and totally safe. Protect your privacy and privacy of your friends. Definitely you need to respect and you need to protect the privacy of yours as well as your friends and relatives. And have a time limit on the time spent on social media. Do not spend a lot of your time on social media. Try to spend limited time on social media, because this is basically just for entertainment purpose, right? So try to spend lot of time with your family, friends, and limited time on social media applications. Now, here you can see what are the primary threat to device security. So we are having a lot of devices with ourselves. So there are some threats that basically that can occur with those device, right? So talking about the threats, we have viruses, worm, we have trojans, we have spywares. So talking about viruses. So in simple, a computer virus is a malicious software program that will be loaded into a user computer or user, we can say, device without the user knowledge. So you will not have the knowledge, or you will not be uh, alert that some viruses has been there in your system or in your uh, device, and it will perform malicious action. So this is actually virus. And talking about worms, so computer worm is a type of malware that will spread copies of itself, right, from one computer to another computer. So a worm can replicate itself without any human interaction, and worm doesn't need any human interaction. So it does not need to attach itself to a software program in order to cause any sort of damage. Next, we have Trojans. So, a Trojan horse is a type of, we can say, malicious code, or we can say a software that will look legitimate. You will think, okay, this is a good software or good application. But on the other hand, when you install it in your system, it will work as a malicious software, and it will work in the background. It will run in the background, and you will not be aware that, okay, something fishy is going on in your system, and it will destroy all your data. It will damage all your computer information, your computer, your system, and it will steal all your personal information. And in this period, you will not be able to guess, or you will not be able to know that something fishy is running in your system. Next, we have spyware. So, spyware, the work of spyware is to steal your personal information, such as your account's password, your credit card numbers, and basically, uh, the main aim of spyware is to track your online activity. So, once the spyware software is installed in your system, it will track all of your things. Let's suppose you go to your net banking website, right? So it can also track your passwords, it can also track your login IDs and passwords things. So we need to make sure that nothing these kind of softwares are not installed in our devices. Next, we have the term malvertising. So malvertising is a term which basically has come from the term malware. So, malvertising is a kind of attack in which hackers will inject malicious code into legitimate online advertisements, and that advertisement will look legitimate. But once you click on those advertisement, it will automatically install one malware in your system. So, this is malvertising. Next, we have cyber frauds during this COVID-19 pandemic situations. So, cyber frauds are going on from few, like we can say, a lot of past years. But in this period of COVID-19 pandemic, these cyber frauds are increasing day by day. So, talking about the increasing in cyber frauds, we have seen a lot of increase in phishing attacks, tab nabbing attacks, identity theft attacks, donation and mask scams. So, most people have received one mail related to donations related to COVID-19 pandemic situation, that we are from a government firm, and we are working for like um COVID-19 warriors, or things like that. So you can click on this particular link and donate some amount for COVID-19 victims, something like that. So once we click on these kind of links, we will be a victim of this fraud. You have also seen a lot of scam related to mask, that please fill this particular form, and you will get a lot of COVID-19 mask things, and you will get free sanitizers, thing like that. So these are all the tactics of hacker in order to steal your information, steal your money. Next, we have seen a lot of frauds related to ransomware and keylogger. So let's discuss one by one. So first, let's see what actually is identity theft. So, identity theft is the crime of obtaining the personal, or we can say financial information of another person to use their identity to commit any sort of fraud, such as unauthorized transactions or any sort of purchases. So, identity theft is committed in many ways, and its victims are typically left with damage to their credit card and finances, and a lot of damage to their reputation. So, this is all in all the uh, goal of cyber criminal when they are performing the identity theft. So information often targeted by identity thieves include your passwords. So the main goal of thieves is to take your password, is to steal your bank account information, is to steal your credit card numbers, and information stored on user computer, mobile phones, such as contacts, videos, images, sensitive documents, and all. Now, how to prevent yourself? Always safeguard your personal information. protect your passwords as much as you can. Be debit credit card smart. You need to make sure that you are checking your credit card report on monthly basis, debit card report on monthly basis. And destroy shred receipts not required. One thing we have seen a lot, that while using ATMs, while you are done with the transactions, some people throw the transaction slip on the floor itself, which is not at all secure, because anyone can visit the ATM and can, uh, take that slip and can see your bank account information. So this shall not be done. Whenever you are done with your transaction, always try to destroy or shred the receipts in small small pieces and throw it in the dustbin, not on the floor, because we have the information in that particular paper. So why to give your information to other persons? And review your records regularly, whatever your just try to check your bank records regularly. And be cautious with phishing links. Do not try to click on any sort of links, because we cannot trust any sort of links. And monitor your online accounts. So if you have online accounts on social media applications, then try to check it on regular basis, or try to be active on those social media accounts, right? Because if you are on social media and are not using those social media, then any hacker can, hack those social media and can use it from your name, and can ask for money and can ask for anything from your friends. So if you are there, then use it. If you are not active on social media, then try to delete your account. This is for your benefit only. And be careful with public wi-fi. So whenever we are using public wi-fi, like in airports and restaurants, cafes, then if you are using the public wi-fi, then please do not uh, do any sort of or do not access your personal information, or do not do any sort of transactions, because we never know who is the person sitting behind that public wi-fi and what is the goal of that person, right? So any hacker can hack the particular wi-fi and can, do any sort of fishy things over their public wi-fi. So do not do any sort of uh, transactions, or do not access any personal information if you are using the public wi-fi. Or please avoid using public wi-fi. If there is some case of emergency, then only use the public wi-fi, otherwise do not use the public wi-fi. What to do if you are a victim of identity theft? So change your passwords ASAP, as soon as possible. Report it to police immediately if possible, and contact your bank. Of course, you need to contact your bank and you need to tell them that okay, this thing happened with you. So bank person will take immediate action. Next, we have fraud is keylogger. So what actually a keylogger? So keylogger is a software or a hardware device, we can say that is capable of recording your inputs, or whatever you type on your from your keyboard, it will record all of the things in a particular file. Let's suppose a keylogger is installed in your system. Now the next time you will type anything over anywhere, if you will type anything on your browser, if you will type on anything on a file or anything, it will record all of the things there. So this is a very very dangerous kind of we can say program or a device. Now keyloggers are there in two forms. First one is software, second one is hardware. Now the software one comes in a lot of applications, and once they install, they will record all of the things there. Talking about hardware, here you can see in the right side a screen in which there is one small black device. So these kind of hardware keylogger are basically present in cyber cafes mostly. So what the criminals are doing, they are just basically um, uh, using this particular hardware device in cyber cafe. So the next time the person visit the cyber cafe, they use this system, and all of the information are stored in the particular system in a particular file. So they will go there and take all the file and see the information straightly from that file. So this is the kind of keylogger. So whenever we goes to places like this, like cyber cafe. So we need to make sure that you check these kind of things there, that is there kind of keylogger is there or not. Next we have is phishing. So what actually is phishing? This is a very, very famous attack that is going on. So phishing is a cybercrime in which a target or we can say a lot of targets are contacted by email, telephone or text messages by someone posing as a legitimate person in order to fool people so that they can gain their sensitive data such as their banking information, their credit card details, their password or any information which can basically uh, make the victim to steal their information. So here there are few examples of phishing websites that we have added. Is what hackers are doing. Hackers are creating the famous replica of famous websites like Gmail. Everybody is using Gmail. So what hackers are doing? Hackers are making a replica of Gmail, so mostly people will not check the URL of the websites, right? So here what hackers are doing, hackers are creating a replica of Gmail that is www.gmail1.com, which looks similar to gmail.com, because we are not habitual. Whenever we are surfing over the internet, we do not mostly check the URL of the websites, right? And here you can see they had created the replica of ICICIbank.com. So instead of B, they have uses the 6. And then we have Bank of Baroda. So instead of O, they have used 0. And Yahoo.com. Instead of O, they have used 00. So whenever we do not check the links, we can easily be a victim of phishing websites. Okay. So here we have how to identify fake phishing website. So this is for journal purpose. We are going to talk about that how you can check whether the websites you are surfing is a phishing website or a genuine website. So without using any sort of tools or without using any sort of applications, how you can check? Let me just share my browser first, and then we will discuss. Just a second, let me share my browser. All right. So this is the websites. This is the CDAC website, www.cdac.in. So how you will check whether the website is a secure website or is a phishing website? First thing, what you will do, first thing you have to check whether the website is HTTPS secure or not. First thing you need to check this. So the website which we are currently opening is cdac.in. It has HTTPS. Next thing, what you will check whether it has this small lock or not. This small lock, we call it as a padlock. Okay. So you need to check whether your website is having this padlock or not. Once you have this, what you can do it, you can click here. You can see here connection is secure, certificate issued to Center for Development of Advanced Computing. Okay, so here we can see our connection is secure, our website is totally secure. Now if you want to see more information, what you can do it, you can just click here, and you can see here you are securely connected to this site, certificate issued to this particular website. Okay, now if you want to see more information, you can click here more information, and you can see the digital certificate of this particular website. Okay, so um, for digital certificate, you need to click on view certificate, and here this is the digital certificate of a particular website. Okay, so I will not dig into technical details much. So you will see this is the particular digital certificate, and if I click here, you can also see from here more information. So you can see here the website information, the URL, the owner, verified by, this is the company which has provided digital certificate to this particular website. The digital certificate will expire on this particular date. Okay, so this is how you can check the digital certificate of a particular website and check whether the website that you are surfing is actually a genuine website or a phishing website. So let's go back to the PPT. I hope the things are clear. So let me share my PPT first. All right. Okay. Next attack, or we can say next cyber fraud we have is tab nabbing. So, what actually is tab nabbing? Tab nabbing is the attack which will done from your tabs. So, if you are habitual to do work by opening a lot of tabs, then uh, you can be a victim of this tab nabbing attacks. Let me share this particular screen. So, here we have taken a small example. uh, there's one person, okay, so he is busy in accessing a lot of tabs at one time. So at one time he has opened a lot of tabs. The first tab he has opened is electronics and car, which is a eBay website, and the second tab he has opened Flipkart website. Third tab is Hindu, the Hindu Times or the Hindu portal, something is opened. And then fourth tab he has opened is TechCrush. Fifth tab he has opened is information security and education awareness website. And then some banking website is open, and then India development portal is opened. So at one time he has opened a lot of tabs, you can see here. So right now just focus on the only on the first tab, that is of electronics and the cards. Okay, now the user is busy in accessing all the other tabs except the first tab. So from past few minutes or from past few hours, the user has not come back to the first tab, that is of eBay website. Okay, so he is busy in accessing all the other tabs except the first tab. Now after some time, when the user is not accessing the first tab, the first tab starts to connecting to some other websites automatically. Here you can see it is showing the connecting automatically. Okay, so when the user come backs after few hours, when the user come back to the first page, and he see this particular Gmail page, so he basically don't remember what page he had opened. So he thought, okay, the Gmail page was opened, and he just come here and just log in his Gmail account. But what he has basically missed is, this is actually not the Gmail authenticated page, this is a phishing page. Here you can, if you see it carefully, this is gmai1.com instead of gmail.com. So this is a phishing page, and when you enter the username and the password, it will directly goes to the hacker, and he will get to know your username and the password of your Gmail account. So this is how the tab nabbing attack has worked. So it is totally recommended that while doing any sort of internet activity, do not open a lot of tabs, just try to open few tabs, and whenever you are doing anything, first refresh your page and then do other things. Okay, so this is how the attack is performed. Now, one thing you can do is you can do two-factor authentication, of course. So right now, every social media application has two-factor authentication. What two-factor authentication is? Basically, firstly, you need to provide your username, and then you need to provide your password. And then one OTP will come in your mobile number. When you provide the OTP, then only you will be able to log in your social media application. So this is actually a good security mechanism in which you will be secure and your social media applications is also secure. So obviously, how to prevent tab nabbing? Definitely refresh the browser before doing any sort of thing, before or we can say after returning back from other tabs. Check the URL correctness. You need to check the URL from now onwards before doing anything over any websites. Please check the spelling of the URL, okay? And avoid any sort of financial transaction on tabbed browser. So suppose you have not used any tab from few minutes or few hours, then do not do any sort of financial transactions over there. And always use private window for financial transactions. So every browser has private window, you can go there and you can do your financial transactions over your private window. Okay, next attack we have is this particular ransomware. So basically, what actually is ransomware? Ransomware has also come from the malware. So we can say it's a type of malware that prevents or limit users from accessing their system, either by locking the system screen or by locking the user files. Okay, so until and unless the if you are a victim of ransomware, then a hacker will ask you some kind of money, and when you give them money, then only he will give you access to your system, or he will give you the key to open your file. Okay, so this happens in ransomware. So we have two type of ransomware: crypto ransomware, and then we have locker ransomware. So if I talk about quickly crypto ransomware, then it will basically lock your files and data. Okay, until and unless you will provide some money to hacker, then only he will provide you key to unlock your files and data. And in locker ransomware, your whole system, your whole laptop or your whole desktop will be locked out. Okay, and you will not be able to do any sort of things on your system. So your whole system will be locked out until you pay some ransom to the hacker. Now, next we have is password security. So, password security comes, or we can say, plays a very important role in our life, because we use a lot of social media applications. We have our office accounts also, right? So, it is really much important to protect all of those accounts from this some strong passwords, right? So first, let's see what are the various techniques that are used by hackers in order to gather our passwords. Then we will see how to prevent our password and how to make our password strong. So the hackers are using following tactics like shoulder surfing, in which, let's suppose you are sitting on your office desktop and you are trying to log in your account, right? So some person is standing behind you and looking at your screen, and you are not aware that someone is standing behind you and looking at your screen. So in this way, they can easily see your password and login ID. So this is shoulder surfing. And we have seen mostly this thing while using the public places, like whenever we are using lifts, we are busy in accessing information in our mobile phone, but we basically forget to check that whether the person standing behind us can also see our screen, right? So whenever we are using these sort of public places, we need to make sure that you know uh, nobody is watching us and nobody is actually looking at our screen. Then the second thing is writing your passwords on papers and storing it on hard disk. So some people basically write their passwords and user IDs and important informations on a piece of paper, and they just stick it on their office desktop. So anybody can visit to your office desktop, right, and can see the information easily. So this shall not be done. And then we have a brute force attack. So what actually happens in brute force attack? So we can say this will basically guess your username and the password. So if you are using a weak username and the password, like some people are still using the passwords like their name, their mobile number, or passwords like abcd12345. So this is a very weak password. Do not use these sort of passwords, because nowadays there are a lot of technology is there in order to crack the passwords. So do not use these sort of passwords. Anybody can guess whether you are using a small passwords or a weak password, and can they perform brute force attacks, right? So this is actually guessing your username and the password, and if the guess is right, definitely your password will be lost. And then dictionary attack. So some people thought that if they will use a strong password, or if they will use a word from dictionary, then they will be secure. But there are tools that will basically scan all the dictionary words in few seconds, and if you are using any of the word from dictionary, your password will be uh, lost. So do not use passwords from dictionary. This is not a good, we can say, technique. So what we can do, we need to switch to passphrase as soon as possible. Now you will ask what actually is passphrase. So passphrase is taking your favorite sentence, any favorite sentence. You can make your own favorite sentence from your own, and then make your password from that particular sentence. Now in my case, my favorite sentence is, never judge a book by its cover. So this is a sentence that I can remember anytime, and I will not forget this sentence. Okay, so you can do the same thing. that you just take any sentence and then we will make a password from this particular sentence. So now you can make a password like I have taken small n from never, and I have taken j from judge, and I have taken at sign, a special character from a which looks like same, and I have taken 6 from B. Again, I have taken 6 from B because this looks similar, like, and it will be easy for me to remember. And I have taken the opposite of I, exclamatory sign, from its, and then capital C from cover. So this is how my strong and good password is ready. So this is how you all can take a favorite sentence and can make your passwords on your own. And this is basically a tactic, or this is basically a technique in which you can take a lot of sentences, a lot of passphrase, and in this way you will not forget that what is the password of my this account or that account. So you can do this thing. This is a very good technique in order to secure your password, in order to basically make your accounts secure. Now, talking about the preventions, we need to make sure that always refresh the browser after returning back from other tabs, avoid phishing emails and questionable websites, and use private browsers. And always use updated antivirus software. You need to use antivirus software and increase your browser security settings. Avoid financial transactions on tab browsers, and do not click on any of the advertisements, and do not download any sort of free softwares or free applications, because nothing is free on the internet. Everything is taking every free thing is taking information of yours. So always clear cookies and cache history on daily basis, and disable auto connection while joining networks, and never reuse passwords for Wi-Fi. Change the name of your default Wi-Fi network. Some persons or some people are using the default Wi-Fi name and the password like admin. So this will be very easy to hack. Never use these sort of username and the passwords. And disable your wireless home network while you are not at home. Do use two-factor authentication on everything possible. Do not install apps from third party. As we had discussed, if you want to install any application, go straightly to App Store or go straightly to Play Store, whatever is your mobile phone. And record your IMEI number in case if your mobile is lost or stolen. You need to record your IMEI number, 15-digit IMEI number, for registering any sort of complaint. Okay. Then we have never open email attachments, which is having VBS, SSH, and PIF. And never open web links in your emails, and never download anything from email. Nowadays, there are a lot of attachments coming on, which once we click on, it will work as a malware. So do not do any sort of things, and check for spelling mistakes, and never trust the icon in the email also, and do not respond to spam mails without verification of email origin. So here in this particular session, we have only made it to the conclusion that the only system which is truly secure is the one which is switched off and unplugged. So only way to be safe is to pay attention and to act smart, because everything is actually tracking, every activity of our us is tracking on the internet. And here we have the mantra of online safety is to pause and think before you connect, and secure yourself, secure the nation. And before doing any sort of thing, you need to make sure that you will think twice before doing any sort of thing. So thank you everyone, and stay safe, stay secure, do your part, be cyber smart. If you have any question, you can definitely ask me. I will try to answer your queries. Thank you, everyone. Yes, sir. Are there any questions? Okay. Is there any questions? Then definitely you can ask me, or my email ID is books for studies. Okay. So You can use, sir, this particular website. Let me just share. You will find a lot of content here, which is, let me just share it first. Okay, this is the infosecawareness.in website. So you can see a lot of content here. You can get a lot of files and lot of PPTs from here, and you can get a lot of content related to cybersecurity and how you can secure yourself from here itself. And you will see a lot of books also from here. So you can come here and you can definitely surf the website and gather. You can basically study from here, this website, particular website. Yeah. Any other questions?
Thank you, ma'am.
Which tools are you? Yeah.
Now MAF is also not safe as SMS based login verification can be set by aside hackers. What is MAF, sir? Can you please, MKP Singh, sir, can you please elaborate like what is MAF? I'm not very sure like what is a MAF. And
Yeah.
sometimes
One
two-step
question.
verification authentication is also hacked. How this hacking is done?
Yeah. So basically, till now, there are few tools which can basically is not safe for two-step authentication. But till now, if you are using all the steps related to two-step authentication, your account will be secure. In a very you can say there are very less times where two-step authentication is not secure, but mostly two-step authentication is secure. So if you have done all the steps related to two-step authentication, then your account is totally secure, no need to worry at all.
All right. So in just add to that, ma'am, like so like the two-step verification will fall into the sick when when the fraudsters calls you after collecting your username and password. Then if they ask the OTP and if you are sharing the OTP with the particular person, then whether it is a two-step verification or a three-step verification or a multi-step verification, nothing can save us. All right. In the same way, like the day before yesterday, one teacher has lost more than 10.5 lakhs. So first initially she got a link and she shared the link, she shared her username and password, and immediately she got a call like we wanted to do these things, and immediately she shared the OTP also. What that fraudster has done, he's taken all the money from her savings bank account, as well as on top of the things, like what he has done immediately is he changed the mobile number of the victim. Okay, when you are sharing the username, password, and OTP, whether it is a two-step or a three-step, it is always a difficult, sir. So once you share the details with anyone, that's it. We gone. Most of the things are because of the human errors. It is not because of the technology. Technological errors are also there. Human errors are also there. So mostly the human errors plays very very crucial role. So like what are the cases we have seen, at least like if you seen any of the cases, so most of the time as Kazal madam mentioned, the digital footprint, we are giving the information, right? So whether it is a two-factor or a three-factor, it is always chances are there when we share the information, then it is always a risky. And if you are not at all sharing any information with anyone, the risk is very, very less. Okay, whether it is a two-step or a three-step verification